Hello there, I'm the student, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can get infinite manpower in EU4, and I mean it like that. You can see that my maximum manpower is 25,000. Still, I have 100,000 manpower in my bank, and that in 1457 starting as Muscovy. But very important, you can literally do that as any other nation in the game as well. All you need to do is get access to Strelski, which is very easy by just flipping the culture to East Slavic culture group and enacting the Tier 5 reform, establish the Strelski. And like that, every nation in the game can get infinite manpower. So let's get right into the video and I'll show you how it works. So I've just set up a little game as a Muscovy. You can see I played 4 years almost already. I simply annexed Vea in that time, and I'm basically provoking rebels over here by decreasing the autonomy. Now you can also see that that next to these rebels in Moskva there are 4 Strelski regiments. Now you can see that they have 1,000 manpower in the bank, right? Now in their regiment. Now you can also see that I have currently 10,000 manpower in my manpower bank, in my manpower pool. You can see the maximum is 25,000, so that's also an interesting thing to keep in mind of. But yeah, first of all, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to provoke the Tver rebels, so the separatists. And as I'm going to provoke them, they will be 50% stronger and therefore have 12 regiments, which is really important that they have more than 10 regiments. So there we go. I'm just going to do that real quick. Of course, in the province of Tver itself. Now I've already mothballed my fortress in Moskva, because otherwise, if they are on an adjacent province to a fort, they cannot walk anywhere else than on the fort, which I don't want to. I want them to keep being inside of their cores that they have. And what I basically want them to do is I want them to occupy all of these provinces. I really don't care. After 5 years, of course, I have to reoccupy these provinces, every province once. And then after that, I have another 5 years, because if they are occupied for longer than 5 years, then they will defect to the nation. Basically, what I want to do right now is I want to just send these Strelski regiments in on this 12,000 stack one by one. You can see this one arrives on the 13th of March. The next ones will arrive on the 14th, and then on the 15th, and on the 16th. Because as I said, these regiments have 1,000 manpower in them, okay? Now you can see my manpower bank has 10,700 right now. So let's see what happens after the first stack walks in. You see that I lost the 1,000 troops immediately. They got insta-stack wiped. By the way, also got 0.2 army tradition for that. But you can also see that my manpower pool went up from 10,700 to 11,200. And the reason for that is that if an army gets stack wiped, you regain 50% of their manpower. And you actually regain 50% of the manpower that you lost from the stack wipe. So if you, for example, go in with all 4K at once, then you probably lose like half of the troops in battle, and after that they will get stack wiped. So then you would only get half of the 2K that were left in the end of the battle into your manpower pool. So that's why you want to send them one by one, so that they get stack wiped immediately with 1,000 manpower in the regiment. So let's just continue that until all of these regiments are gone. Another 500, another 500, another 500. Now all of these regiments are gone and I can't do that anymore, but what I can do is I can recruit new Streltsky regiments. Now of course this goes way faster if you had more Streltsky force limit, right? You could recruit more at the same time and so on. But right now I can just recruit 4 at the same time, and now let's see what happens. You see I have 12,700 manpower in my bank right now, and now I'm going to start the construction of one Streltsky regiment. You see, nothing changed. Same for all the other 3 regiments. Nothing happened. I still have the same manpower. And that is because Streltsky regiments don't take up any manpower. And that means that you can literally recruit Streltsky regiments for only 9.5 ducats per regiment, that then, after they are finished with constructing, are constructed with, as you can see, 1,000 manpower fully reinforced in that regiment. And remember, I paid no manpower for this regiment. They are just there. They are just appearing from nowhere. Of course, I had to pay 9.5 ducats per regiment, but basically what that means is, you see 13,300 manpower, 13,800 manpower. And that is basically the entire trick that I wanted to show you, because that way you can literally convert 9.5 ducats, and that is also modified by regiment costs. So for example, if you go for quantity ideas, you're going to notice that there is a regiment cost modifier, for example, that reduces the cost by 1 ducat. So then it will cost only 8.5 ducats per regiment. Now, you pay that very little amount of ducats for 500 manpower. And you can literally do that as often as you want to do it. Of course, you have to keep waiting until these regiments are built, which is why I said it's way more efficient if you have more force limit for these units. But let me just do that real quick and see how long it takes for me to get to 100,000 manpower. By the way, one thing that I have to mention as well, you can see I'm already over my manpower capacity. I have 27,000 manpower and I have only 25,000 manpower limit. But you can see what happens once this regiment of Streltsky walks in on the next day, that this 27,000 turns into 27,500 manpower, and that is because manpower regain from stack wiping goes over your manpower capacity, which is totally broken, because that way you can store manpower way above your manpower limit. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just get this manpower number to 100,000. So now you can see that the time has come to, that I should probably reset the rebel progress. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to send this one stack over there to re-siege that province. And you're going to see what happens after that. Now you can see once I walk off of that province, these rebels will walk back and try to occupy that province. So apparently they want to walk through Moscow for that. Yes, they do. So that's pretty annoying. But anyways, so that's that. I'm just going to wait until they are over there. And now I'm going to enable the 4 on Moscow, because as soon as they, because now they're going to reoccupy that province, and I'm going to automatically re-siege these provinces, as you can see, via the 4. So that way you can see I completely reset the rebel progress, and now I can mothball that 4 again and let them basically re-siege all of these provinces, and I have another 5 years to do that trick, which I'm of course going to start sending the Streltsky in again. there we go. 100,000 manpower in my bank in 1457. So I basically took 9 years to make that happen. More manpower than the Emperor Austria has. And yeah, as I said, this is still super early in the game, and that is also the reason why it took basically so long. The biggest bottleneck wasn't even the money. You can see I'm not making that much money as Muscovy in the beginning of the game, but I only had to take 800 ducats of debt to do that. 800 ducats for 100,000 manpower. So if you compare that, if you had an event where you could spend 800 ducats or maybe 1,000 ducats, right? Because I had a little bit in the bank before. If you had an event to spend 1,000 ducats for 100,000 manpower, I think that would be a complete no-brainer. So easy choice that you spend 1,000 ducats for 100,000 manpower, right? So this is totally broken in my opinion, and the best part is that the later it gets, the more force limit you get, the easier it gets in terms of the micromanagement, because you can just recruit 20 Streltsys at the same time and then let them all walk in. You don't have to constantly re-recruit the Streltsy. So you don't even have to change your tier 1 reform. The tier 5 reform also allows Streltsy and even gives you 20% Streltsy force limit modifier, which the current one only gives me 10%. So by such a simple choice of becoming East Slavic primary culture and enacting the tier 5 reform, you can basically get infinite manpower in EU4. And I think that's already it for today. I hope you enjoyed the little video, and we are going to see, as always, on another Monday.